Hello, good evening and welcome to the beautiful city of London for the Rapha Nocturne. Thanks for joining me, Martin McDonald, in the commentary box. This evening we are right in central London. We are in the shadow of St. Paul's Cathedral. For the Rapha Nocturne this evening, we will be bringing you the Condor track bike crit live very, very soon. 30 minutes of racing on fixed gear bikes that you would normally see on the banked velodromes. And fixed gear crit racing really is growing at a phenomenal rate all over the world. And this is something special. 25 minutes plus 3 laps around this 1.3 kilometre circuit here for the Rapha Nocturne this evening. Of course, has been tweaked very, very slightly to make it even quicker than it has been in previous years. So as I said, we're in the shadow of St. Paul's Cathedral. The riders starting and finishing on the cheap side, and there's some tight bends through the back of the circuit. And this really will test the riders throughout this evening's racing. But something about the fixed gear criterium race here. So if you're not familiar with this sort of bike, this sort of racing, a track bike, a fixed gear bike, has no brakes. It has a fixed gear, which means you can't stop pedaling. So unlike your road bikes and the road bikes you'll see later on in the women's criterium, these riders can't freewheel around any of the corners. You have to pedal constantly throughout this circuit. You'll see riders later on in the other criteriums coasting through some of the corners. Not a luxury that the riders have in this fixed gear criterium. And as I said, this really is growing as a discipline within cycling around the world. The Red Hook Criterium Series is becoming very, very famous. And we just recently had the Thundercat Criterium, Thunder Crit here in London at the Lee Valley Velo Park, where the London 2012 Olympic Games velodrome was held. So you can see the riders lining up on the start. Good pack of very international riders here for the Rapha Nocturne this evening. We just had the women's race, and a really exciting race that we had, and that was just taken by Jasmine Dotti from Italy, from the IRD team. Great fixed gear criterium rider is Jasmine. Races all over the world, former world champion in this style of racing. So she has already taken success here this evening. So the riders are underway. The clock is ticking in the corner, so you can see the riders jockeying for positions away from the start. So through this circuit, they'll also give you on this lap here an idea of what the riders have to tackle. So you can see riders just trying to get their feet into those pedals. So on a fixed gear bike, once you're going, trying to get your foot into your pedals is sometimes, when you're moving fairly quick, it can sometimes be a little tricky when you pull your foot out on the track, on the velodrome, trying to get your foot back in. You normally have to come off the track to do that. But you can see the riders through these corners as they roll out here. And the riders selecting gears of, if you're familiar with it, about 49 at the front and a 15 sprocket at the back, or a 50 tooth at the front and a 15 at the back. So it's about a 90-inch gear, if you're familiar with that. Some of the stronger riders may go with a 48 by 14 gear, but the most important thing to remember, you can't change gear as you go on a fixed gear bike, so you have to get your gear selection absolutely perfect going into the race. So no options to be able to shift through the gears if you're on too big a gear or too small a gear as well. So you can see here in London, the sun is shining for the riders. It's a beautiful evening. It's still about 20 degrees Celsius, nice and dry through the circuit as well. So everyone just getting themselves well into position on this parade lap, and then they are straight underway. So you can see straight from the off and the attacks coming thick and fast. I was just having a chat with some of the Defi Collective riders just before the start. So Marlon, Chris and Barrington, so local riders. And, they were giving us a little bit of background on what's been going on in the local scene. Some riders to watch out for. Alex Briggs in particular, who's wearing number 200 in this race from Team Specialized Rocket Espresso. A lot of people talking about that rider as someone to watch this evening. Paul Vanotti of Disorderly Habits is another rider that we can watch out for. But anything can happen in this style of racing, and that's what's the beauty of criterium racing. That's the unpredictable nature of the racing. So you can see the riders all just looking around here, just taking the pressure off here at the front. So moving through the colours there of Carrera IRD in the white with the black and red stripes down the jersey. So another rider to be been told to watch out for, the Team Cinelli Chrome riders. So Ignacio Moser is one of those riders. You saw the first attacks there coming from Fevrier Francois. We got Henri Felix and Thibaut Lenry from the Team Look Criterium team. So just having a bit of a chat there, the racing. The riders sure whether they're often racing, but they are. So once again, it's those look colours coming up to the front. And you can see already this bunch here being stretched out through these corners. And a bit of a, you could hear the crowd there. It sounds like we've already had a crash on the corner. Rider down. And that's Chris McGlynn. That's gone down from the Defi Collective, one of the riders I was chatting to before the start. So he's just got to get himself back in there. And a big crash there. The black flag is out, and you can see that's a big crash. The race has been neutralised at the moment, so you can see why the riders haven't been racing. So black flag was out. They had a crash, and as that, another big crash going down there. So the riders just calming everything down here before they get underway. So I've just been given the message in my ears that the race was neutralised. That was why the riders, you can see, were just... you can see the black flag is out there, and there's another crash going down there on the inside. And you can see what happens here. With the fixed gear bikes, when that happens, there's absolutely nowhere to go. So on a track bike, you can kind of kick back a little bit and kind of knock your speed off a bit. But when that happens, as I said, there's no brakes. You can't stop pedaling. And the riders all going down there, coming up towards the line, being stopped here. So we will get underway once again. So the riders being stopped on the line, and that will allow all the riders that have taken a tumble to get themselves back in there. You can see some of the riders as well just taking the opportunity to start with their feet off the ground. That does help when you're on a track bike, as I say, when you're trying to get your feet into a bike with a fixed gear when you're underweight. And those riders just getting themselves back into position. Ike Howman there from Fixed Pot, just picking himself up, just finding his glasses, and he'll get back round to the start. Just a little adjustment here, just to straighten the handlebars up for Ike. And just sending him back round the right way round the circuit. And we are underway. So he will have to chase to get himself back in there. So all of the riders getting their feet in. So right off the start line here. And we are off and racing. And it's that Cinelli chrome colours of Ignacio Moser just launching himself off the start line. Specialised Rocket Espresso colours in second wheel there. You see the skill that these riders have to go through these corners, keeping the pedal spinning all the way. A lot of riders you see that opt for the speed play type pedals, which give you a little bit more clearance. You see Ignacio there just ducking in to that corner, digging the shoulder and cutting this 1.3 kilometre circuit here as tight as possible. And he's got everything underway, just gives a little flick of the elbow there. So all together you can see the pressure just starting from the start line there, just to stretch this group out. And you can see some little attack starting here and reaction coming straight away. So first through that first lap. And some stronger riders starting to just get a good established group at the front here. So I'm picking up some of the riders that went down in that big crash. And quite a bit, you can see a little bit of chat going on down the back of this group at the moment. So you can see quite a lot of damage on the leg of our rider on the front here. And that just shows the damage that's happened in that crash. So we'll see what the organisers decide on those riders that were picked up by the main group. And you can see down the back of the group here at the moment, just getting stretched out, but nice big attack going in here. And reaction straight away. So it's those look criterion colours that had made that move. Good reaction from the group, and already you can see just a little bit of a gap opening up within our main bunch here. So you can see this on this circuit, some nice sweeping bends. So as I said, we start and finish in Cheapside. Head down past St Paul's Cathedral, bear round to the right, head down past where our protein pits are, and then it's a right and a right again, and then a tight left into Noble Street, a tight right into Oak Lane, and then another 90-degree into Staining Lane, and left into Gresham Street, and then a left into King Street before they turn back into the start and finish straight. So through the start and finish line this time. And once again at the front, some little probing attacks at the moment. Nothing managed to really establish itself at the moment. So heading down past the protein pits there. You can see a little bit later on with the women's race and lots of the team cars already in there. All the teams just behind that section getting themselves warmed up for later on. And these Cinelli are the Carrera IRD colours on the front. So they've already had a victory here this evening with Jasmine Doty. So you can see as well these some really great looking track bikes out there. David Van Eerd, the 8-bar team, and Tim Caressa, those two riders representing that team this evening. But our first move through the line this time, through these corners. Taking a look behind on the front. No one wanting to take up the chase at the moment. Past the protein pits once again. You can see taking this move seriously. Alec Briggs and Ignacio Moser coming through. And IRD Carrera, a couple of riders in here. Fabio Garazzati, one of them. Just taking a big look back. This is a decent looking attack now from IRD Carrera. Really starting to stretch this out. If you look a little bit further down the group now, you can see some gaps really starting to open under the pressure.
Briggs now hits the front. Those lap times continue to drop. 1:32.
Riders just fighting to try and get back on terms there. Everyone before this race talking up the man sitting in second wheel, Alex Briggs of Specialized Rocket Espresso. The Rocket Espresso rider really is looking very relaxed in this race. Just you can see just how tight clipping that corner almost with the shoulder there. A lot of discussion to see the riders that have been lapped just getting pulled out of that gap. Those riders were starting to get a decent group established now at the front. Constantly you can see the riders checking back just to see what sort of damage these attacks are doing. Briggs now, and those multicolours on that great looking bike. Multicolored bike coming through, but you can see the riders all looking and watching Alec Briggs. And that's the trouble when you're the favourite.
Yes, Rapha Nocturne, that's what
We'll just get to know all some of our team colours here. It's great to be able to bring you these this fixed gear criterium. There was a lot of attacks in the women's race. It did come down to a bunch sprint. Doty had tried many times to try and get away before finally taking the victory in the sprint. Riders just battling back on to this group here. Just keep that pressure on. So once again, the pressure goes off. Briggs just swings across, takes a look at everyone. Scarrazzati makes a big attack. The Italian has a glance back. That move just neutralised there by Alec Briggs and Ignacio Moser. This group just trying to establish itself at the front. But Fabio Scarrazzati, no one wanting to come through and help the Italian at the moment, pushing on here. No one wanting to hit out too early here, so these attacks all being neutralised at the moment. But they're making Briggs do quite a lot of the chasing here, and these attacks he knows the riders that he needs to watch out for in this fixed gear crit. He'll want to take this home race, the international competition that he's got here. Definitely not wanting to make it easy for him. Moser leading through now. Just sort of telephoning the move here at the moment. When you make a move like that, you kind of telephone your attack into the front of the race so they can all see you going. You want to try and get that element of surprise when you make that move. Just hit the race from a little bit further down. When you've got the class of riders such as Briggs in there, he's not going to let you just ride off the front. He's been very, very vigilant in this race at the moment, but just look at the technique, look at the skill of these fixed gear riders as they push it through this corners on this very tight London circuit. And in this sort of race you get that ricochet effect that goes all the way down through the group. So if If you're not near the front when the hammer really goes down, that's when you start to see those little gaps appearing in the bunch. You get those small crashes as well. That starts to split the race as well. And this is the bike channel team. And again, another Italian team. They've got Marco Cecchinato in here, Daniele Calvi and Danilo Boroni. That's the bike channel team. And another new team, and the guys from Defi Collective were really saying that the professionalism in the fixed gear crit racing has really just gone up and up and up over the last couple of years. And you can see that these teams now specialising in this discipline. The equipment, the bikes, the setup that they have. So Daniele Calvi on the front, 5 laps to go, we're being told. So no one really managing to get away at the moment throughout this fixed gear criterium. And once again, Briggs coming through. He really has controlled this race beautifully at the moment as the Specialized Rocket Espresso rider. And the Elf Huez riders coming up towards the front. This looks like Max Guedes from Elf Huez. Again, these great looking colours of this team. But once again, Alec Briggs right into the mix, right sitting here in second wheel. Ignacio Moser that launched the first attack off the line. Again, really powerfully built rider. Not let anyone out of his sights. 4 laps remaining. So is anyone going to manage to break away from this race? You can see that this group at the front looks like about 20 riders at the moment out of that big pack that started. Guedes swinging through these tight twists and turns, just pushing this circuit to the limit, using every last millimetre at his disposal. As we move through to the final laps, anyone that's not confident in their sprint finish will really have to try and make a move. You can see the favourites just all posturing for position here. So Guedes still on the front. You can see how hard he's working. And here goes the attacks. The bike channel team. And straight away, once again, Alec Briggs and Ignacio Moser are right on him. So the pace really hotting up at the front here of the Condor track bike crit. 3 laps ago, you can see how quickly they're lapping around this London circuit here this evening as we build towards the finale of this fixed gear crit. You can see the women lined up ready for their race to come very, very soon. Bright bike of Briggs though. Roberto Baroni here on the front. Another member of the bike channel team. Baroni just leading this one out. There will be just 2 laps to go when they come round next time. Baroni leading from Briggs, from Moser. Looking good at the moment. IRD coming through. Scarazzati moving up onto the wheel of his teammate in that white jersey with the black and red stripes. That's what I'd call the Shelby Mustang stripes down the centre of the jersey. And the rider of our Elf Huez team just dropping off the back. Scarazzati moves up to the front. Mariani up there, so now this pace just goes off the group, and once again it's the Bike Channel colours. They come up towards the front. Big attack from Bike Channel. Three laps to go. 2 laps to go this time. You can see the lap board just being shown to the riders at the side. But Alec Briggs, very strong position in those yellow, red and blue colours there with the turquoise shorts. Daniele Calvi pressing on the front for Bike Channel. These riders, Roberto Baroni, another other Bike Channel team that's in this group. They're going to get that welcome sound of the bell when they come around next time. Just 1.3 kilometres will be remaining. Will anyone manage to break away on this final lap, or can they bring this down to a group sprint? Alec Briggs has played this one perfectly, as has Ignacio Moser in that bright yellow jersey of Team Cinelli Chrome. Taking a look back. Bike Channel well to the front. Briggs poised and ready. Moser is there. Still looking comfortable despite all of the work that he's been forced to do. Calvi, though, turns up the pressure on the front here for Bike Channel. Everyone's been watching Alec Briggs here in this race. Scarazzati moving up on the right there in that white jersey with the red and black stripes. 1 lap to go this time. Briggs now moves through towards the front, takes a big look back over his shoulder. There's Alec Briggs. Moser is poised and ready in second wheel. Is anyone going to manage to jump away on this final circuit? Briggs, though, is he confident to lead this one out? Scarazzati moves up there for IRD. So the Team Carrera team. Mariani there as well. Alessandro Mariani is the other rider you can see there in that white jersey. Just sitting about 4 riders back. Very experienced Italian fixed gear crit riders. But this is the final lap here. Moser, you just saw the elbows go out there from Moser as he moved up. Briggs fights to keep hold of that front position. Just takes a look back over his shoulder. Looks like he's confident to lead this one out. Getting very close to the finish here now. Briggs on the front here for Specialized Rocket Espresso. Moser moves up onto the wheel. And you just saw a little skip there. Briggs now leads out here for Specialized Rocket Espresso. These 2 riders so dominant as Moser got enough to get back. But look at this, the pressure now from Alec Briggs. Is he going to take this one? It looks like he is. He's celebrating early. And a little wheelie across the line there from Alec Briggs. But the pre-race favourite lives up to his billing. And Alec Briggs takes it for Specialized Rocket Espresso. Ignacio Moser, you could see there, just doing everything that he could to try and get back up to the Rocket Espresso rider who was on the front. Those bright colours of Alec Briggs well to the front. Felix Henry of Team Look Criterium looked like he got up there into 3rd place. But what a dominant performance here in the Condor track bike crit from Alec Briggs, the pre-race favourite. Sometimes when you go into a race as the out-and-out favourite, it's sometimes tough to live up to that one, but he has been on great form so far this season as the Specialized rider. As I said, took that Thunder crit in May. And Felix Henry there, look at that, little wheelie across the line. And that takes a lot of skill on a track bike to pull a wheelie. You can see he was celebrating here. You have to be careful, though, because Moser was closing right down on him as he got towards the line. He was frustrated not to take that. There's Felix Lonry of the Look team in crossing in third place. But if that's the first time you've seen a fixed gear criterium, you can see the skill that it takes for these riders to go through here. No brakes, can't stop pedaling, and a great performance to take that one. And I'm sure you can see why that's this discipline in cycling is growing at such a phenomenal level, phenomenal rate, and gives you your first view of the circuit here this evening in central London. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay with us for the elite women's race. That's coming very, very soon, and we have got some real top riders in this elite women's criterium, some international flavour with some world tour riders in there, and also a lot of the British riders having just come out of the 8-race tour series they've been undertaking. So a lot of the British riders will come into this one with some great form in the legs ahead of this evening's race. And you can see the women just rolling out behind the car, ready for the start. The fixed gear men just getting pulled off the circuit. And you can see the Mustang leading the women round here from the start. Emily Kay there on the left from Team WNT. And, a real class act on the track as well as Emily Kay. So we'll pick out some of the colours that you can watch out for. You see the red, white, blue and gold colours of Team Story Racing. And Story Racing is the brainchild of Dame Sarah Story. Not racing this evening, expecting her second child. And this team is the evolution of their team from previous years. It was Pearl Izumi, and then Team Podium Ambition last year. They won this race back in 2015 with Katie Archibald, who has now moved over to Team WNT and racing at the moment in the Women's Tour. Women's Tour of Britain taking place, and that finishes here in the City of London for the first time tomorrow. And women's racing here in the UK really leading the world. So races such as this and the Women's Tour, the phenomenal crowds that turn out to watch bike racing in this country, it tells you why the international riders love coming here to race. And the riders just down on the start. 45 minutes of racing these riders will undertake. So you can see there 40 minutes plus 3 laps for the women's JLT Elite Criterium. So 1.3 kilometers around in the shadow of St Paul's Cathedral. So if you're just joining us on our live stream here this evening, thanks for joining me, Marty McDonald. It's my pleasure to be bringing you through this race, and a great race we had here last year. Alice Barnes of Drops Racing breaking away in a group that contained the likes of Nikki Juniper, Claire Rose of Podium Ambition. Grace Garner was also in that breakaway last year. Then Alice Barnes going clear on her own and winning this race solo. Another rider that's been performing really well this week in the Women's Tour. You can see here the colours of Team On Form. They're in black with one blue sleeve, one cerise pink sleeve. And the big name, the rider to watch out for, has got to be Barbara Gwaryski from the Canyon SRAM team, one of our World Tour riders. Women's racing now getting the World Tour. And Barbara Gwaryski, she knows London well. She's a former winner of the Ride London race. And a real punchy sprinter is Barbara Gwaryski. We'll pick out her colours for you, the black, pink, blue, multicolored colours of Team Canyon SRAM. Team WNT split program, as I said, they're racing in the women's tour at the moment. They've got Emily Kay, Kira McVitie and Gabby Shaw in there as well. Gabby Shaw, great criterium racer is Gabby Shaw, another rider that's been racing well in the Tour Series. And we are underway here in the JLT Women's Elite Criterium. There on the left there is Barbara Guariski. This is the colours here of Drops, straight on to the back of the bike. They've got Rose Osborne, Lucy Shaw, Abigail Van Twist and Annesley Park in this race. And again, Annesley Park, another rider really we're going to watch out for in this race. Great criterium racer. Lucy Shaw put in a great performance when she came into the back end of this year's Tour Series. And Drops racing all whenever they're in a race such as this, they've got to get in on the action. One of the UCI women's teams from Great Britain, so one of the professional teams, and they've had a great program this year, racing across the world. A lot of the riders having competed in the recent Women's Tour of California. And already on this opening lap here. A little group move getting established. The colours of the orange, blue and white colours of Ford EcoBoost, all trying to get themselves up there. But this really is sometimes a good tactic in a short race such as this. These riders to launch yourself off the start line and then just take a look back then and just see who's left behind you. Charmaine Porter for Ford EcoBoost getting up there. There's Louise Mahe. About 10 riders back from the front at the moment. And Story Racing, looks like Chanel Mason that's coming up. So again, see the riders not knocking off much speed through these corners, but already stretching this race out. Two riders just clipping off the front here. Charmaine Porter just drags the group back to them. There's EJ Harris just going through your picture from Story Racing. A little look around just to see what sort of damage you're doing if you go off the start line like this. Looks like Nia Evans that's sitting up here now from Story Racing. And a good attack through the finish line. This sign, these colours, the red, white and blue. Team on form, getting themselves up there as well, but already you can see this is what happens quite a lot in this Rapha Nocturne round here on this circuit. Split it nice and early. And Nia Evans, she's a great track rider, is Nia Evans. Not been racing for too many years. Evans really burst onto the scene this winter on the track, on the Revolution Series, and the Scottish rider really caught the attention of everyone. She took to UCI Omniums in the Revolution Champions League up against Laura Kenny, and Nia caught the attention of the Great Britain cycling team and has now been added to the Great Britain team into the squad. And missing the track, she's been telling me before the race. She hasn't done too much track racing lately as Nia Evans, so she's really starting to miss it, she was saying. But she's got a little trademark, amazing turn of speed that Nia Evans have, and you can see already starting to establish a great gap off the front here, the Scottish rider. She's just taken a career break as well now, as Nia. She's on the Great Britain team. She's actually a veterinarian, so she's taking a break from her career as a vet to just have a go at her bike racing and just see how far she can take it. She represented Scotland at the last Commonwealth Games, and she's now looking to try and once again qualify for Scotland for the next Commonwealth Games, and she'll be looking to see just how far she can go with the Great Britain cycling team. Just taking these corners in her stride here. And Nia 10th last year when she was racing with the Glasgow Wheelers, and moving across to the team of Dame Sarah Storey in the winter. And, started out as a sprinter, and then really found her feet as an endurance rider, and hasn't really looked back since. And you can see now this gap, she hasn't really looked back at all. And it's Ford EcoBoost, those orange colours on the front. Annesley Park takes a look round at EJ Harris. She just moved up. She'll be looking to try and defend this one for her teammate off the front. Nia Evans and EJ Harris made a great pair in the Tour Series. Nia Evans leading out EJ Harris on a regular basis to clinch the Iceberg Sprints jersey in that series. She was a real lead out, and then that work gets paid back in races such as this. And just see the colours there going through, the yellow and red and black of the Thanet Racing team. So some of the local riders as well getting a chance to mix it with some of the top pros. And also in there as well, you can see Jasmine Doty, the winner of Fixed Gear Criterium. So Jasmine has switched fixed gear bike for road bike and thrown herself in. One race not enough for her here this evening. She's decided to tackle the elite women's race. And it's Annesley Park now on the front for drops. She recognises the danger of letting Nia Evans go clear. And Porter up there in second place at the moment for Ford EcoBoost, with EJ Harris of Storey Racing, as I said, just defending for her teammate. So some of the riders just battling to get back into this group. And the cycle team on form, just getting up there. They're represented here this evening: Sian Botley, Lucy Harper, Clover Murray, Alicia Speak, and Jessica Woodworth. That's the cycle team on form. Nia Evans settling into this lone attack here. And if she can start to get rounds through some of the corners at the back, gets out of sight, out of mind. Louise Mahe there, just going through your picture in the black with the pink on the side, number 129. She's with Les Filles, Queen of the Mountains racing team, Louise Haywood Mahe. But Nia just getting roared round this circuit by a great crowd here in the City of London here this evening. So started in 2013 racing, so it just shows when you've got that talent, comes from a running background as Nia Evans. And she's been a former winner of the National Derny Championships on the track behind the motorbike. But the pressure going off the front here. Annesley Park, Barbara Gorishki is just coming up there. Riders just kicking up some of the Evans pressing on. Great move here by the Storey Racing rider. So Dame Sarah Storey and Barney, the team manager, both here. And Nia, recent winner of the Scottish National 10-mile Time Trial Championship. So once she's out there on her own, she's a very strong time trialist is Nia Evans, as all of the Story Racing team riders are. Dame Sarah Story being such a great track rider and time trialist herself. They really put a lot of focus on the time trials. You can see sponsored by Boardman Bikes. Chris Boardman does a great job as well, backing some of the British teams, also backs the One Pro Cycling team as well. But Chris Boardman, former Olympic champion, really wanted his bikes under the Story Racing riders. Sprint lap this time for Nia Evans. So this means on the sprint lap there's a prize on the line. And you see the bike here, you get some good shots here of the bike of Nia Evans. A lot of teams opting for what is an aero road bike. So you can see here the way that this Boardman bike is constructed. The brakes are built into the front forks, and big, it's almost like a time trial bike set up for the roads. They've developed them over the years. There's Jasmine Doty going through there, number 119 in that black jersey with the red and black stripes down it. We've just seen Barbara Guariski starting to come through towards the front. You see already Nia Evans starting to lap riders out on this circuit. It just shows the pressure that's on here. Our lapped rider can't get in with our leader. That's Connie Hayes of Liv AWOL going through. You just saw she just tried to get in there. But Nia Evans making very light work of this circuit. You can see some of the back markers in this group already. And Evans focused, concentrating here, the Story Racing rider. Lining up through these corners. She's just going to have to try and pick these back markers off in front of her. You want to get through them as quickly as possible. Try and use the straights to overcome those lap riders so that you can carry all of your speed through the corners. Evans, look at the position of the Scottish rider. Flat back. And she takes the 5 points on the sprint lap. And the motorbike just following our lone leader. And you can see the gap that she's really building up on this circuit. The reaction is going to have to come soon from that bunch behind. These are all back markers that are with our leader. And you can see the lead here of Evans. She's really getting out of sight. And for them, when you see these back markers that the peloton are also going to have to pick off as well, that just can add that element of confusion to the peloton just to try and work out where the leader is. And you see here Story Racing, Lizzie Banks, the new signing for Story Racing, that's moving up there as well. EJ Harris, that's in second wheel behind Annesley Park of the Drop Cycling team, who's being left to do a lot of work. On the front is Annesley Park. Again, another very good Criterium rider. Took the Tour Series in Redditch last year. And Annesley Park, very, very consistent through the month of May in that series. Didn't manage to pull off the victory, Annesley Park, which was quite surprising. But to allow a dangerous rider like this to establish such a gap very early, they're really taking a leaf out of last year's winner, Alice Barnes' book. This is pretty much how Alice Barnes won this race last year. Got herself off the front, and once she went, she really just time trialed her way away. And for Nia Evans, we know her on the track. If she can manage to hang on in this race, this would be a great victory for her in what really has been one of the most sought-after races on the circuit. They're at the Rapha Nocturne. We used to run it in Smithfield Market, and moving up here, up towards St Paul's Cathedral and Bank and round Cheapside, it really has taken it from Smithfield right into the heart of the city. And you can see the peloton just going through the finish line now, and Story Racing doing a great job here, just mind-sweeping at the front of the bunch just to try and interrupt the chase just a touch. Sean Botley from Team On Form in those black jerseys with the pink and blue sleeves. So Team On Form, again, excuse the pun, they can really grew on their form through the month of May as well. 8 races throughout May in the criteriums all over the country. A lot of travelling, but it has really allowed the riders to hone their form perfectly for a race such as this, and still have all that criterium racing in the legs. If you are tuning in here to our live stream this evening, welcome. If you're not familiar with bike racing, excuse me if you are, just explain to you if you're jumping in on our coverage. So a criterium such as this, held on a short circuit, just 1.3 kilometers is this circuit, the criterium title given to this type of racing. And we really are one of the leaders now of this sort of racing around the world. We really have turned it into a really sought after discipline. A lot of the criterium races really grew out of the post Tour de France racing, where the winners and the riders that performed really, really well in the Grand Tours would go over to the criterium races throughout France, Belgium, Holland, and sort of make their money after the Tour de France. But this sort of racing really so popular here in Britain, and really it does. It's always really highly fought over. And, drops. The colours of Drops Racing. Back on the front once again, Lizzie Banks moving up. There's Barbara Goriski going through there in that black with the pink and blue, the multicolours of Canyon SRAM. Real sprinter is Barbara Goriski. She would have been hoping that this race would have been controlled and brought down to a bunch sprint, but it's your lone leader here though, Nia Evans of Story Racing. They also picked up Iceberg, the alcohol-free wine, as a sponsor recently as well. But they really are going to have to do something about this if they're going to try and pull back Nia Evans in this race. Once she went, look at the job being done here on the front by EJ Harris and Lizzie Banks, the teammates of Story Racing, that same jersey as Nia Evans, but still a good-sized group here in the peloton behind. And Dame Sarah Story and Barney hoping to take this team professional again next year. They took a step back from the pro ranks back to elite level this season, just to really collect themselves and pick up the sponsorship necessary to take the team forward. And lapped riders, and you can see just being our leader here being roared on from the side there, from the rider that she's just picked up. Just seeing Emily Kay in that blue and white and dark blue of Team WNT, just moving through as well. But they're going to have to get this group. It looks like Drops are going to have to be the team that start to come up. Goriski just moving up on the outside. Monica Dew in there as well for Story Racing. I think this is Mercy Webb, the young junior rider from the Story Racing team. It's about to get a teammate coming past her. Just rolling a big gear through here. And Evans, just you can see, just shouting to the riders in front of her that she's coming through. And these lapped riders can't get in with our lone leader. So you can see all of these riders behind, and the attack now from the main group. Annesley Park makes a move off the front for Drops, so they're not going to drag this one back. They're going to try and fire off attacks. Emily Kay of WNT with EJ Harris, Barbara Goriski and Lizzie Banks well to the front. So some of the big hitters in this race starting to get a little bit nervous about the gap now to our lone leader, Nia Evans, who just, you can see, as soon as she got off the front, just settled down into time trial mode and is just building and growing this gap. She's got 2 laps to go to the next sprint. There's the pits that she's just going past. She'll be getting time checks and instructions from the team manager. There's Barney Story there, just bending down, just shouting to his rider. Very experienced team manager is Barney. And Lizzie Banks here, the new signing for Story Racing, just trying to nullify this attack here at the moment. And she's just trying to pull this one back to Annesley Park. She's a class act, is Annesley Park. She's had a great season so far as Park. She took a race over in the Oost Dunkirk road race in West Flanders. She's had a big victory in Belgium earlier on in the season. It's a great criterium racer. She's recognised the danger. She knows that she's got to try and get across this gap if she's going to pull back Nia Evans, but such a strong rider is Evans. She's been the Scottish criterium champion in the past as well. She took that last year, and really is one of the most exciting finds on the women's scene on both the track and the time trials and the criteriums is Nia Evans. And it just shows as well just how fast progress that you can make when you get into the sport. It's never too late to jump in there. She really took advantage of the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome up in Scotland, in Glasgow. And that really has made such a huge difference to the Scottish riders. And hence why you're seeing the Scots such as Evans here, thumbs up there from Barney Story in the pits. And it just means having that indoor facility, just like the Manchester effect. They call the Manchester Velodrome the medal factory, the home of British cycling. And it just means that week in, week out, you can race and train throughout the year in great conditions. Aoife Doherty is the rider from Cycle Team on Form that's moving up towards the front. We've got the WV Breda riders as well. A couple of internationals in there as well. Hilde Aldman and Femke van Kessel, the two riders in there for WV Breda. But look at this from Nia Evans, picking off these groups in front of her. They're just acting as little carrots in front of her. She can just use these groups. It will get a bit of slingshot, bit of shelter as she gets close to these groups. She can just take, use that opportunity, get a little pull off the group, and then move past them as quick as she can. But great shot here. You can just see how hard she's having to work. You see the breathing of Evans. We're getting some great shots here from our motorbike camera, just seeing the style of Evans' sprint lap this time. And I'm sure when she went away, she might have expected riders to come up to her, but Team on Form are starting to just eat into that gap just a touch here. You can see Team on Form. So you can see a concerted chase now. Sian Botley just having a look around. She's instructing her teammates here just to drop off the wheel a little bit. This team performed very, very well in the Bedford 3-day this year, the Team on Form. And here's this group in front of Evans. Quite a sizable group off the back here. You can see some of the riders in there from Aprire and WNT. And there's the chasers in between. We haven't seen them on going through our pictures, but that looks like the colours of Barbara Gwariski and Annesley Park. They're right, they're in the gap. The front angle here will foreshorten the gap very, very slightly. There are your chasers just coming around the corner. Nia Evans just hollering to this group as she comes through. She doesn't want to get caught up in here. Evans is just moving up the outside of this group. There's your chasers just coming around the corner. That light blue helmet of Annesley Park and Barbara Gwariski of Canyon SRAM. We didn't see them go. We saw Annesley Park just clip off the front. We didn't see Barbara Gwariski go, but they're starting to eat into the gap now of Nia Evans. And you can just see the pressure from this group. And it's Isabel Darville on the front from Team Vision Innovative Leisure. But the rider's jumping in behind our leader here at the moment. She won't want that. There's your chasers that are going to come into sight very, very soon. And again, these back markers just in front of Evans, Annesley Park and Barbara Gwariski. Can they get up to the Scottish rider now? Evans just picking her way through these back markers, through these corners. Just going past Connie Hayes here of Liv AWOL. She'll be shouting to these riders in front of her. The lapped riders will get pulled out before the end of the race. EJ Harris now on the front for Story Racing. They might have been given the instructions to try and pull back Barbara Gwariski and Annesley Park, but then the danger comes into play that if you start to pull that group back, then if Nia Evans is looking like she's close to the front of that group, it'll just give the riders in that bunch that little bit of confidence that maybe they can jump across to that lone leader. Annesley Park and Barbara Gwariski are now just picking their way through that bunch, and then they will try and make the junction up towards Nia Evans. But the Scottish rider now, shoulders down, hands on the drops. Second sprint result on the top of your picture confirmation. Evans from Story Racing, Annesley Park from Drops, and Barbara Gwariski of Canyon SRAM. They're in that group. So that's the second sprint of the night. Evans now takes the opportunity to just get a drink into the system. She'll be getting a warning from the pits that those two chasers are coming up to her. She's been out in the lead for most of this race here this evening. So 26 minutes of racing so far. Annesley Park just adjusts the computer on the bike. Those are your chasers just going through the finish line this time. So your lone leader is Nia Evans. Then you've got Barbara Gwariski and Annesley Park, and the attacks now come out of the group. So the main bunch now getting caught up in these back markers, but Annesley Park just dragging the group up. Evans, just you saw there, she knew that the chasers were almost on her, took the opportunity just to have a bit of a drink. She would have had the instructions from Barney Story at the side that they were getting up towards her, and she just takes the chance just to get your breath back a little bit when these chasers are coming up to you, especially two riders of the class of Barbara Gwariski and Annesley Park. Riders down here. Lizzie Banks has gone down for Story Racing, and down with her is Sean Botley. So Lizzie Banks just picking herself up gingerly off the floor there. Hope the riders are all okay. Annesley Park now sits down on the back, takes a drink out of the bottle. So you're looking quite similar colours here. The black with the vertical stripes here of Annesley Park on the back for Drops. Then you've got the black with the multicoloured blue and pink with the yellow flashes on the sleeves of the Canyon SRAM rider. Annesley Park with Nia Evans and Barbara Goriski leading through. So your trio of leaders, Annesley Park, Nia Evans and Barbara Goriski. And then your chasers just start making contact. Charlotte Broughton moving up for Ford EcoBoost. Nia Evans out there for most of the race this evening. Now got the company. Barbara Goriski, great sprinter, is the Italian. And she's had some great victories in her career. You can see the riders as they get towards the back end of this race. Goriski took the Umloop van Borsele last year, World Tour race, did Goriski. And when she won the Ride London Classic, she took that in a sprint. There's confirmations that Annesley Park did take that from Nia Evans and Barbara Goriski, but our chasers now just about to get on terms with our leading group, so this will swell the numbers at the front. So Femke van Kessel, EJ Harris, just getting on there. And your other rider, Lucy Shaw, in there. So two riders now in this group from Drops. Two riders from Story Racing. And Femke van Kessel from WV Breda. This is a really strong group now at the front. EJ Harris, winner of a round of this year's Tour Series. Harris wearing in there, wearing number 109, and has made such a phenomenal comeback this year as EJ Harris was diagnosed with cancer last year, went through treatment, recovered, fought her way back into racing, and such an inspiring rider is the Story Racing rider. She's an army captain and a doctor, and, mixing her racing and looking to try and see what she can do. Van Kessel takes a drink out of her bottle. Park and Shaw, but the pre-race favourite. You see the Rapha logo on the sleeve as well of Barbara Goriski. So Canyon Schramm, one of the top women's teams in the world, but Goriski comes into this race having had some real tough stage races in the legs. Right, the Tour of California. Best performance so far this year for Goriski was a second place in the Paget Hills Classic. She'll be looking to try and take a victory, but now the partnership comes back once again. As I said, Nia Evans spent a lot of the of May leading out EJ Harris. Harris has got a great sprint as the Story Racing rider. And there you have your sprint result this evening. Nia Evans from Annesley Park. And Harris, EJ Harris, with 3 points. Femke van Kessel here on the black, in the black with the yellow colours. And Goriski now makes a move, takes an attack. Lucy Shaw nullifies that one. Goriski is always a very animated rider, as the Italian looks back at the Drops rider in second wheel. And just pushing it through these corners. Look at Barbara Goriski as she threw herself on the inside of that lapped rider there. She's really now stretching out this group, is Barbara Goriski. Van Kessel on the back. This group has done really well to come back at the end of this race. Nia Evans looked so comfortable throughout. And Barbara Goriski looking around. She wants this group to work, but the pre-race favourite, all of these riders know what the Italian can do. Do they want to take her to the finish? And you just see another group just coming up with the colours, the orange of Ford EcoBoost, that are right there. And this would make 3 Drops riders at the front. 1 rider from Ford EcoBoost and 3 riders from Story Racing. So a real big group of big hitters now at the front here of the JLT Women's Elite Criterium. And we're about to get some reinforcements at the front. So will Drops pick a rider and start to lead them out? Looks like Charmaine Porter that's just latched on here from Ford EcoBoost. And an attack straight away going in here Beth Crumpton goes through, the Story Racing rider. She's going to take this one here through. 1 lap to go now for Crumpton, and Crumpton is a cyclocross rider and a mountain bike rider, a former under-23 national champion, and look at that. Up the inside, doesn't want the Story Racing team to take their foot off the gas, does Lucy Shaw. Beth Crumpton just taking a break from the UCI mountain bike scene this year to concentrate on the road. Throws herself into that corner. Lucy Shaw got herself well up there in the final round of the Tour Series that was taken by her teammate Rebecca Durrell. And she doesn't want Crumpton to get away. Story Racing, plenty of cards to play in this group. Charmaine Porter right on the back here for Ford EcoBoost, and Ford EcoBoost missing Nikki Juniper at the moment. Juniper coming back from a broken collarbone. Annesley Park out of the saddle, so a really strong group now. Crumpton, Shaw, Park, well up there. So moving through, so 3 riders here from Drops. Just getting on here now. They're going to try and lead this one out. Crumpton now on the back, so final lap here. Who's going to take this one? Annesley Park moves up now. They open it up. Here they come. Nia Evans now makes a move. They can see the finish line ahead of them. Is it going to be another strong victory for the Drops Racing team? But here comes Nia Evans trying to get on terms with the Drops rider. But it looks like Lucy Shaw from Drops comes through to take that sprint. So Drops follow it up once again with a great victory and a great sprint there from Drops. And our elite women's criterium. And congratulations all around for our winner. Lucy Shaw gets that victory that she's been hunting for this season. A well-worked sprint there from the Drops Racing team. Last year, it was Alice Barnes that took the victory. This year, it's Lucy Shaw. And a pat on the head there for Lucy Shaw. Great victory for her. Great elite women's criterium. Really set up there. Got to feel a little bit for Story Racing. Nia Evans going clear. Monica Dew there. Beth Crumpton and EJ Harris all well in there. And Team Drops. Abigail Van Twisk there, the other rider from the Drops Racing team. They got herself into that move with Annesley Park. But really, hats off to Annesley Park. She was the rider that made the chase of Nia Evans and dragged Barbara Gwariski with her. And for them, it's once again another victory for Drops Racing. So that's it, a victory here this evening for Drops. A great performance. Thanks for tuning in. From me, Martin McDonald, I'll say bye for now.